was make sure that everybody else was okay. He didn't see his golf partner with him.
So this is typical Donald Trump, isn't it? Yeah, wanting to make sure everybody else is okay. You know, this should maybe ring home more, because I know even Trump supporters hated this when he was in office and he was out on the White House lawn and around reporters, and he said, "I'm the chosen one." And everybody was like, "Oh my God." And I know even his supporters were like, "Oh, Trump, don't say that." So that didn't bother me, because there's many chosen ones. It didn't mean he wasn't trying to say he's Jesus. It's all through the Bible, though. So it's like, it shows how little people understand the Bible. That's God raises people up. Some won't take the call when tapped. I'm just using that as a metaphor kind of way. But many are called, few are chosen. Really, it's not that few are chosen, it's few that will step up. Who would step up to do what Donald Trump's doing? But he did. But many people, you see these people on and off throughout history, and you're usually on the side with everybody else going, "Oh, they're embarrassing themselves," when really deep down inside you know that what they're saying is right. But you want to sit there and, you think it's better to go along with everybody else because you don't want to be called crazy, or you don't want to be... It's what this world does. It's why Jesus said, don't conform to this place. Because if you conform to it, then you'll do what everybody else does, and that's not what you want to do. So throughout the Bible, Jesus calls the people that are willing to roll the dice. But especially in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, it was the Holy Spirit. It's the reason the Roman Empire needed to become the church, because they couldn't kill that spirit. So they realized all they could do is try to control it. Because, they thought that killing Jesus would end his leadership, but it didn't. It didn't. See, those Pharisees, those popes and deacons, those bishops, all of them at the Catholic Church, they dressed just like the Pharisees. And never once in the history of the Catholic Church have they looked at that, because they've always been a part of they want to be the crown. But Jesus wanted you to not only listen to what he says, but what did he do? He didn't go building churches. He didn't wear crowns and big robes and fancy things. No. Plus, he mocked the Pharisees for wearing that stuff, because he said exactly why they do it. They want to be seen as important, that they're a leader. That's what the Catholic Church has done. It's interesting. I don't know how many people saw it. Gangs of New York. That's an old movie, violent movie. Best movie Daniel Day-Lewis ever did. Phenomenal job he did in that. And that's a true story about the gangs of New York that came here from Scotland, Ireland, the Scots, the Irish, more the Irish side. But they go to battle in the scene that I duetted. It's a famous scene between Daniel Day-Lewis and I forget the other actor's name. And the other actor, he's playing a priest. And they go to war with killing each other, both sides. Because and near the end of the movie, I'm not giving it away, but there's this speech that Daniel Day-Lewis gives about how, he had great respect for that priest. He killed him, and what drove them apart was that the popery should not be some king, and yet that sect believes that no, the Catholic Church has it right. So it's really just a bunch of people following the leader in many cases. But they're both wrong, because they both took up the sword, which Jesus said what would happen if you take up the sword, you'll die by the sword. Don't ever do that. But he did want us to call out the things that were wrong, because there's so many things in this world that lead people astray. And there's so many things when the world gets all the media gets all crazy because Donald Trump says when he's in the White House, "I'm the chosen one." And he was half joking. But at this point, can you not see how likely he is the chosen one? Look at what he's willing to sacrifice for this country. That alone makes you a chosen one. But there's not just, Jesus wasn't the only chosen one. Jesus wanted his life to represent what he wanted you to do. And if you were filled with the Holy Spirit, you would find the strength to do that. That's what the Roman Empire couldn't kill. The more people they kept killing, they realized it just kept spreading. And so the only other thing they could do is control the church. And that's what they've done. And what have they done throughout their history? We have all these churches. You have the Catholic Church that just has people in pews or doing Stations of the Cross, doing all this nonsense, rosaries, all this stuff that is totally nothing to do with Jesus' life. But they make excuse after excuse after excuse for it. So I can understand the people that had issue with it. Other people liked it, but I think the people that like the Catholic Church, it's like they should ask themselves, why do you like it? You like it because you like it for yourself. It's not about Jesus, though. You can lie to yourself, but most people, when you dig down deep with that question, it's, well, I like it for this reason, and it's all about self. You like it because it's what you want it to be. And maybe Jesus will be okay with it. I don't know. I don't know how seriously, I mean, how many things do you want to just disregard and bring in your own stuff and then continue to tell yourself that God will be okay with it when clearly he was not okay with it many, many times in the Bible. So, it's like I said, if had Daniel Day-Lewis's gang and the Popery gang, had both of them, either of them, had groups of people filled with the Holy Spirit, then they both would have known that wasn't the way to go. And they both would have been on the same page, and the Pope would have taken themselves down. But the Popery has never taken itself down because it's not about God. It's about wanting to control people. Can people not recognize that's what this place is about? Even if it's people that have good intentions, it's like, no, we have to control the order. That's what Daniel Day-Lewis's character believed, and that he was a real character. What was it, Bill the Butcher or something like that, on the five corners of New York there. Yeah, so he was a Bill the Butcher, something like that. And he believed to keep order, he had to kill people, these rivalries that were going to try to do whatever it was. So he believed what he was doing was honorable, and he had great respect for the priest he killed, because he said, we believe the same thing, we come from the same cloth, yet he killed him. That's how much damage the Catholic Church has done. Because it's the Roman Empire. Trust me, it's the Roman Empire. It's how the Roman Empire wanted to get control of people and just keep you in a church, in a pew, not getting you close to understanding the Holy Spirit. And I'm not saying just that church does it. I would say many of your people that are heading up churches, do they ever read the Bible, or did they just go to seminary school? Likely most of them just went to seminary school, and whatever seminary school told them they believe. I mean, you still have most of this country believing there's a rapture. There's not a rapture. There's not. God will protect you through any tribulation, but it's not a rapture. But it's twisting little things like that. So you need to understand it yourself by reading it and praying about these things. That's what God wanted you to do. Not go learn what somebody else thinks, but what do you think about it? And then come to your own conclusions. And what you'll find is other people that are filled with the Holy Spirit know exactly what you're talking about. And when that happens, when you have enough people that happens, then you have a whole different world. You'd have a whole different world. Because that's a real thing, no matter what the science says. I've seen it for too long. And when I would go to 12-step meetings all the time, just go sit in a 12-step meeting every day for 30 days, and you see what kind of transformations and miracles take place. So that science has nothing to do with, that medicine has nothing to do with, but something is more powerful that's working there. So, and that same thing that works there was protecting Trump and is trying to wake this country up. So please, America, wake up.